Coming to Canada, the new Prime Minister Mark Carney has directed the Defence Ministry to review a $13.2 billion F-35 fighter.
In news coming in from the defence sector, Canada is reconsidering America-built F-35 purchase. This is big news. Remember,
the shift in U.S. security policy not only has allies in Europe scrambling to increase their defence spending, it also raises...
For years, Canada and the United States, two close North American neighbours, have been known as symbols of global stability with their integrated economies and strong trade partnerships. Recent developments, however, suggest that this friendship is showing serious cracks. It all started with US President Donald Trump's decision to impose a 25% tariff on steel and aluminum imports from Canada.
Steel tariffs on Monday.
On this tomorrow?
Monday, yeah, tomorrow.
What countries will those go on?
Everybody. Steel.
Exactly.
Any steel coming into the United States is going to have a 25% tariff.
What about
This move shook not only trade relations, but also the diplomatic balance between the two countries. Canada did not remain silent in the face of Trump's moves and sent a clear message to Trump by deciding to impose a 25% retaliatory tariff on US products.
I am announcing Canada will be responding to the U.S. trade action with 25% tariffs against $155 billion worth of American goods.
Now, Canada is fed up with US trade pressure and is preparing to make its most critical move. Ottawa has announced that it will review its $13.2 billion F-35 fighter jet deal with the US. The administration is actively exploring possible alternatives to the US-made F-35 stealth fighter and is in talks with rival aircraft manufacturers. This is the biggest signal yet that Canada is turning away from Washington and towards Europe. So why has Canada taken such a big decision? What does rapprochement with Europe mean for Ottawa? How will this strategic shift affect the global balance? There is also a US-Canada relationship strained by trade and tariffs on the one hand, and technology and security concerns fueled by kill-switch rumours on the other. Now, the questions of, if Canada buys these planes, is there a mechanism, kill-switch, by which the US can shut down the system at any time? Or are these unfounded allegations, as the Pentagon says, are also on the agenda? On top of all this, Canadian officials seem to be willing to talk to European manufacturers, saying, "We must remain independent from the US in the future." So what is going on? Do the kill-switch allegations really threaten Canadian national security? For answers to these questions and more, here is our video. But first, please don't forget to subscribe to our channel, turn on notifications, and give us a like to stay up to date with our content. The trade dispute between Canada and the United States has taken on a whole new dimension. Donald Trump's refusal to abandon his tariff policies is also affecting defence cooperation between the parties. Canada was previously planning to buy 88 F-35s from the US, but the fate of this deal is now uncertain. Canada's new Prime Minister, Mark Carney, has ordered a review of the contract with US Lockheed Martin Corp for F-35 fighter jets.
Prime Minister, and we're also, it's a conversation taking place with the Canadian Armed Forces. Right now, we have undertaken to purchase 88 of the F-35 fighter jets.
Canadian Defence Minister Bill Blair said the government is examining possible alternatives to the American-made F-35 stealth fighter and will talk to other aircraft manufacturers. This is not just an arms deal, but a signal of a reshaping of the balance of power in North America. By taking a tough stance against US trade pressures, Canada plans not only to cancel its purchase of the F-35 fighter jet, but also to act independently of Washington in many areas. The ongoing negotiations with Europe play a critical role in this process. On March 5, 2025, Canada's Foreign Minister officially announced that new cooperation opportunities were being discussed with partners on the other side of the Atlantic. Behind closed doors, important discussions are reportedly taking place with European defence companies and government representatives on next-generation alternatives to the F-35 and integrated defence systems. On March 7, the Department of Defence issued a short but clear bulletin stating that Canada's economy is based on diversity and strong financial fundamentals. Sovereignty and independence trump commercial pressures. The phrases were clearly emphasised. These sentences point to much more than just an airplane project. It is said that Canada aims to reduce its dependence on the US in cybersecurity, artificial intelligence-based defence systems, and advanced technology investments. On March 6th, a special session was held at the Ministry of National Defence, where a report titled Risks of Foreign Dependence in Next-Generation Technologies was presented, and it is claimed that it underlined that dependence on a single country could lead to strategic dilemmas in the long term. The F-35 is a fifth-generation fighter jet, the pinnacle of modern combat technology, equipped with a radar-reducing design and advanced avionics. Almost all countries that buy this aircraft are subject to limited technical control by the United States. This is because the F-35's software infrastructure, logistics system and maintenance processes are managed through a US-based network. This is exactly where the kill switch rumours come to the fore. Does the US have a kill switch that can disable this aircraft? The claim has appeared frequently in various social media posts and defence blogs. A kill switch is believed to be a software-based backdoor mechanism that can be used, usually by the supplier of a technology, to disable or disrupt the functioning of a system. In this particular case, the F-35 stealth fighter. Of course, if this is the case, the idea that if a country falls out with the United States, they can remotely shut down their F-35s is also thrown into the mix. Of course, the Pentagon has repeatedly denied these claims. On March 14, 2025, the official statement read as follows: There is no kill switch or similar function on the F-35 aircraft. There is no structure to prevent our partners from sovereign use. This was made public by Lockheed Martin. However, there are voices on the Canadian side that say, OK, they deny it, but their software demands still increase dependence on the US too much. In particular, it is known that there is discomfort with issues such as the processing of data on US servers when the aircraft undergoes maintenance and the US control of telemetry transmission. The F-35 project is under US control from its design to its logistics. User countries do not have full access to the aircraft's most critical software. Some partners have even faced restrictions on requests to add their own mission computers. Over time, this has led to the suspicion that the US is building a remote disabling feature into the aircraft. Although the Pentagon again said absolutely not in an official statement dated March 17, 2025, allies such as Canada cannot escape the concern of what if the truth is different. Some experts, noting that it is not impossible to remotely block an airplane, especially with drone technology and artificial intelligence methods, do not consider the kill switch claim to be a conspiracy theory. Therefore, Canada, which is experiencing tensions with the Trump administration, may be afraid. Will the US use this card against us at critical moments? This is part of the reason for the cancellation. On March 13, 2025, two senior officials, Carney and Blair, shook the agenda with the statement, if the US does not review the tariffs, the F-35 deal could be cancelled. Then, on March 14, 2025, in additional statements, they referred to the kill switch issue and said, the Pentagon denies it, but software dependency bothers us. European alternatives are on the table. According to social media posts, this statement was released to the press through an official source. It is unusual in Canadian history for figures at this level to express their national security concerns so openly. Some Canadian media outlets have criticised the government, saying, how logical is it to burn bridges with Washington? While others have supported the government, saying, we are right, the era of kneeling to US impositions is over. There is a rhetoric of national pride, which the kill switch allegations feed into. As a result, Canada does not only want to abandon the F-35 in terms of maintenance costs and dependence on the US, but many authorities suggest that the F-35 could be a problem for Canadian national security. So Canada may choose to no longer rely on the F-35 to protect its borders. In addition, Trump's tariffs and 51st state rhetoric are also leading Canada to take a stance completely against Trump's policies. All these developments suggest that Canada is preparing a plan B and C against the US and is now ready to chart a new course with Europe against Washington's economic impositions. This shift comes amid growing concerns about the unpredictability of US foreign policy under President Trump and broader strategic considerations regarding defence relations and technological interdependencies. Canada's contract for the US F-35 fighter jets is worth 19 billion Canadian dollars, and the deal is due to be completed in 2023. Lockheed Martin prevailed in the bidding process, beating Saab AB and Boeing Co. The deal, aimed at replacing Canada's ageing fleet of CF-18 Hornets, includes the purchase of 88 F-35s. The contract is divided into tranches, and Canada has made a legal funding commitment for the first 16 jets. The current fighter aircraft in service with the Canadian Air Force is the CF-18 Hornet. Canada operates approximately 76 CF-18s which have been in service since 1982. These aircraft were originally purchased to replace the ageing fleet of CF-100 Canucks and were designed as multi-role fighters capable of both air-to-air and air-to-ground missions. While the CF-18s have been modernised over the years with upgrades to avionics, radar and weapon systems, they are nearing the end of their operational life and are being replaced by the F-35 as part of Canada's ongoing defence modernisation efforts. Indeed, the F-35 programme, spearheaded by the United States and developed by Lockheed Martin, has been a cornerstone of the defence strategies of many NATO countries. Canada, which has been negotiating for several years to acquire these advanced jets, is now reassessing its commitment to the project. This reassessment is largely driven by a desire to reduce dependence on the US military-industrial complex, especially as Washington's foreign policy orientation under the Trump administration has become increasingly unilateral and unpredictable. Canada's long-standing military and defence alliance with the United States has been a cornerstone of its national security strategy. In recent years, however, especially under President Donald Trump, there has been growing unease about Washington's approach to global security and defence commitments. The America First doctrine and a greater US focus on domestic priorities has led to a perceived erosion of the traditional partnership that has long defined North American defence. Minister Blair's statements signal Canada's willingness to explore other options that could offer greater control over its defence strategy, autonomy in procurement, and a more stable geopolitical environment. The F-35, with its high cost and dependence on US-based maintenance and logistics, is a symbol of this dependence. Blair's statement also points to broader concerns about technological sovereignty. As one of the world's most advanced fighter jets, the F-35 is a highly integrated system that relies on global logistics, intelligence sharing, and technical support from the US manufacturer. The F-35 Lightning II is one of the world's most advanced fifth-generation fighter jets. It was developed under the leadership of the United States with the participation of many allies. Canada was a participant from the very beginning. There was even talk of producing some parts in Canada. Defence experts say the F-35 is one of the most groundbreaking aircraft of the 21st century, with advantages such as no airborne radar, advanced sensors, and network connectivity. For Canada, the prospect of locking into a system that is not only expensive, but also heavily dependent on US infrastructure, raises questions about long-term sustainability and security. The political and economic turbulence surrounding the Trump administration, combined with growing calls for more autonomous defence capabilities in Canada, has spurred the search for alternatives. The idea of reducing Canada's dependence on foreign military technology could lead the country to explore options such as the French Rafale, Sweden's Gripen, or even pursue indigenous development projects. The Swedish Saab Gripen fighter jet has long been seen as a possible alternative to the F-35 for Canada. Known for its flexibility, cost-effectiveness, and proven performance, the Gripen offers an attractive balance between modernity and operational independence. Currently, Sweden, Brazil, South Africa, the Czech Republic, Hungary, Thailand, and the United Kingdom operate the Gripen. With Canada's existing defence relationships with European countries, including Sweden, Gripen could align with Canada's strategic vision of forging closer ties with NATO allies outside the United States. Gripen is also designed to be a highly cost-effective solution for countries seeking a versatile and efficient platform for both air-to-air and air-to-ground missions. Its advanced avionics, combined with operational flexibility and the ability to operate in harsh environments, make it an ideal candidate for Canada's diverse defence needs. The Gripen offers advanced capabilities at a fraction of the cost of the F-35. This makes it an attractive option for countries looking to modernise their air forces without breaking the bank. For many NATO countries, especially those with tight defence budgets, this means the opportunity to achieve air superiority without financial hardship. The Gripen's lower life cycle costs, including efficient maintenance, guarantee long-term sustainability, which is critical for countries looking to modernise their fleets while optimising resources. Unlike the F-35, which has been criticised for its dependence on US control systems, the Gripen provides greater operational autonomy. This is a critical factor for countries like Canada and Portugal, which value strategic independence. Several German defence experts have expressed concern that the US could use a kill switch on the F-35 to impose its political objectives. European military experts have expressed concern about possible US disruption, although Belgian and Swiss military officials have dismissed such concerns. While a kill switch is considered a myth, European countries understand that any F-35 fleet would quickly become ineffective without access to American-controlled maintenance, logistics, and computer networks. Therefore, the US would have indirect control over the operations of the F-35 in service in practically any country. As Portugal and Canada reassess their defence strategies, Sabi is ready to take advantage of this shift. The Gripen's unique combination of cost-effectiveness, operational independence, and advanced technology makes it an ideal choice for countries seeking to escape American monopoly and dominance. Another option under consideration is the French Dassault Rafale, a multi-role combat aircraft used by many countries around the world. Its ability to perform a wide range of missions, from air superiority to attack and reconnaissance, makes it an attractive alternative. France's military industry has a history of working closely with Canada, which could facilitate smoother negotiations for possible integration into the Canadian Armed Forces. The Rafale's proven combat performance in various theatres, including deployment in the Middle East and Africa, demonstrates its reliability in real-world combat conditions. The combination of its advanced radar, sensor systems, and multi-role capabilities positions it as a highly capable platform for a wide range of operations. The Eurofighter Typhoon, the product of a European consortium comprising the United Kingdom, Germany, Italy, and Spain, is another possible alternative. Typhoon is primarily an air superiority fighter, but it also offers multi-role capabilities, making it a versatile platform for Canada's needs. Typhoon's advanced AESA radar, superior manoeuvrability, and high-speed capabilities make it one of the most formidable air combat platforms in the world. It has proven its worth in NATO operations and is already in service with several European air forces. For Canada, Typhoon represents a strong European alternative that can provide a highly capable air combat solution while increasing interoperability with NATO allies. The Boeing FA-18 Super Hornet, already in service with several NATO countries, represents another potential option for Canada. A highly capable multi-role fighter, the Super Hornet offers flexibility in both air superiority and strike missions. While Canada's current fleet includes the legacy FA-18 Hornet, a transition to the Super Hornet could offer operational efficiencies, including shared parts and training systems. The Super Hornet is also known for its combat performance and versatility, having been deployed in multiple conflict zones. While Canada does not currently operate aircraft carriers, the ability to operate from aircraft carriers adds an additional layer of flexibility in joint NATO operations. The Lockheed Martin F-16V Viper, a modernised version of the classic F-16, is another possible option. The F-16V offers advanced avionics, including the AN/APG-83 AESA radar, and provides a more cost-effective alternative to the F-35. The F-16V is highly capable in both air-to-air and air-to-surface missions and is already in service with many NATO allies. Its lower cost compared to the F-35 makes it an attractive option for countries looking to modernise their fleets without the high price tag. Its combat-proven performance and multi-purpose capabilities ensure that it remains a relevant option on today's modern battlefield. Finally, there is the possibility that Canada could develop a domestic fighter jet program, but this would be a much more complex and costly endeavour. With technological advances in defence and aerospace, Canadian defence manufacturers could explore creating a domestic fighter jet that would not only reduce dependence on foreign technology, but also strengthen Canada's defence industry and innovation. An Indigenous program could allow Canada to tailor the fighter to its specific needs, allowing it to remain independent of foreign suppliers while strengthening national defence capabilities. An additional potential option that could be important for Canada is the UK's Tempest program. This next-generation fighter program, still under development, is led by the United Kingdom with participation from Italy and Sweden. Tempest is designed to provide advanced capabilities such as artificial intelligence, stealth and autonomous systems, making it an attractive option for future combat needs. Although it is still several years away from being expected to enter service, Tempest could offer Canada access to cutting-edge technology and the opportunity to partner with European allies in developing a next-generation fighter jet. However, since the aircraft is not expected to be ready until the 2030s, Canada is likely to need an interim solution to replace its ageing CF-18 fleet. Beyond the technical and geopolitical aspects, such a decision has significant economic implications. Canada's defence budget has been under scrutiny for years, with proponents of increased spending arguing that the country needs to modernise its military assets to remain competitive on the global stage. The decision to pursue an alternative to the F-35 will involve not only procurement costs, but also long-term maintenance, training and operational expenses. Choosing a more independent system could result in a more manageable cost structure, reducing the financial strain that comes with the highly specialised nature of the F-35 program. Strategically, the decision to explore alternatives reflects Canada's desire to assert greater independence in defence policy. As global military alliances shift, and with the unpredictability of US foreign policy, Canada's move to reconsider its reliance on American-made fighter jets is a sign of a growing realisation that the country's security interests must adapt to changing political realities. What about other sectors? In a survey of Canadians, 42% of respondents said they would do absolutely anything to avoid buying US-made products. That's a big deal, given that Canada imported more than $300 billion worth of US products in 2024. Boycotting US products is not the only issue at stake. Despite Trump's insistence that the US doesn't need anything Canada provides, the two countries depend on each other for natural resources. Canadian heavy crude, which Gulf Coast and Midwest refineries are optimized to process, accounts for about 52% of US oil imports. Few other countries, such as Venezuela, offer comparable substitutes. Changing refineries to use lighter, sweeter crude is not easy or cheap. Canadian power companies export significant amounts of electricity from Ontario and Quebec to keep the lights on in Michigan, Minnesota, and much of the northeast US. Canada is rich in critical minerals, and the US relies on Canadian mines for about 50% of its primary nickel imports and 60% of its refined zinc imports. Canadian potash, a family of mined and produced salts containing potassium in water-soluble form, is also the unknown lifeblood of US agriculture in the Midwest, where much of the soil lacks sufficient potassium to produce bountiful harvests. Canada is the world's dominant potash producer, and the US imports about 80% of all potash from the country. If Canada imposed a potash export surcharge or export ceiling and sold its potash to other markets, the US would have to rely on Belarusian, Chinese, or Russian suppliers. From food security to energy security, Canada is an indispensable partner. The same is true in the military sphere. Under the auspices of NORAD, Canada and the United States protect North America from the most important military adversaries, China, Russia, and North Korea. Operating side by side under a unique joint command structure, the US and Canadian militaries are ready to track and intercept air and sea threats. Following 9/11, Canada fought alongside the United States in Afghanistan, where 158 members of the Canadian Armed Forces lost their lives in the fight against the Taliban. As a member of the Five Eyes, Canada likewise assists the United States in intercepting signals intelligence from adversaries by collecting data on foreign military systems, including intercontinental ballistic missiles from its network of listening stations. Indeed, the Canadian Forces Station Alert at the tip of Canada's Nunavut territory remains the world's northernmost permanent installation. In short, it has been a volatile few months in US-Canada relations, with tariffs both imposed and lifted, sometimes on the same day. Will Trump continue to retaliate, and if so, to what end? How far will Canadian nationalism go? And which country is next on Trump's list? At the current pace, we will soon find out. Thank you for watching.